Welcome to the DevCast, the only show taking you down the rabbit hole of game development. Your guides to the industry are Robin Andrew, Chaz Barker, and Mark Hollier. Thank you, Offworld, for sponsoring this episode.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the DevCast. So we have a very interesting set of topics for you today. We're going to start off with one of the biggest, overarching and balloon topic that we could probably tackle with these two people is what is the process of breaking down a design for a game? What do you guys...
That's the start of the process, is immediate dread.
You sigh. It's just...
Let's clarify the question a little bit, just in case. So, when you say a game, do you mean a game that you're researching or a game you're creating from scratch?
I think we can use both those as an example.
Let's just take a game
so if
that
I
we
was
know,
to do so if I was to do a, what we call a breakdown or a deconstruction,
yeah,
that's where we'll start. So let's take, I don't know, what are we playing recently?
You want to take the most... Well, we have been playing.
I would go with something simple like Vampire Survivors.
I mean, I was going to say Arc Raiders because we just played it recently, but let's go...
We'll get into that later on.
Sure.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of something that's going to be obvious to see what we're talking about. I think with a complex AAA game, you're going to have a lot of subtlety. There's going to be a lot of animation feedbacks, all this kind of stuff that will gloss over the basics of the game design.
So what I tend to do is first, like, if I'm playing this through, and like, I know a lot of people go, I gotta break down the mechanics and doing all that stuff. My first time experience, I'm looking at my emotional feeling, how I'm feeling about this. Like, is it triggering the emotions of excitement, fear, depending whatever the game is. Yeah. For example, Vampire Survivors, it's like you opening those chests are like, that is like, I'm in a casino, I won, and then it stacks up bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like those are the emotional components that I look at on a game, and then not just that, but it could be the other component of like unlocking and now pairing those upgrades, like choosing, and then seeing the cause and effect of I paired one power up with a different power up, and oh my god, it created something that I didn't expect. Again, that triggers an emotional response to me.
Yes, so that would be what we call the aesthetics of the game. So
Yeah.
we would start with the aesthetics. We would try and describe why we're enjoying the experience in a direct and clear manner that other people will understand. So we don't say, Vampire Survivors fun, me like game.
Right,
because any Tom, Dick, and Harry can do that. So you're saying, what specifically about this game pillar does this thing, right? Does this creates this behavior that then you enjoy, right, in certain ways. So when I say enjoy, it could be gambling, which is like a feeling of being out of control, and to me, it's a small action results in a much bigger reaction.
Right.
There's a deliberate exploration of uncertainty, which is kind of how I would define it.
That's the whole surprise component of that. Like even in gambling, like if you're, doesn't matter if you're if you're playing roulette or like the slots or whatever, there's that inherent risk that you're saying, but you've thrown that out to chance, and you're just kind of patiently waiting for that surprise to hit. It's like, did you get the bing, 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 and then you're like, oh my god, I got all sevens or all cherries, whatever the hell, or you landed on red because I bet it on red.
So let's talk about that. That would be when you're moving through this area and you've picked up enough experience, boom, there's a slot machine in your face, and it's like, bing, 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 bing. Like that's and then you get to choose a particular slot that you want to upgrade.
You know what the best things for that is? I love it ever since they were introduced. It's new achievement.
Yeah.
That is the thing that gets me. I love seeing that, and I love seeing the icon, and then immediately the quick little blurb description. And yeah, sometimes you don't really have time to read it in a game and you kind of pass it off, but I will always go back and go, oh yeah, that's what I did. I freaking love that, because a lot of the times these things are come up passively. I'm not working towards it. Now, achievement hunters out there, trophy hunters, they will look those up and they go, well, how do I now cross multiple of these off at the same time, or what is the shortest path to be able to collect all that? I don't do that route. I just go, just surprise me, and it's got to have like a little bit of fun to it. Oh, I said the FUN word. So the reason why we don't say the word fun so much in game design is it's too basic. It doesn't really encapsulate what you really enjoyed other than it fun.
Yeah,
well, why it fun?
That's why we're professionals. Like, that's the difference between I play a level and I go, it's fun, and the level designer says, okay,
I can't use that.
I'm like, it's not fun. And they're like, okay, was there something specific about the length of the match or anything? And you go into details. You have a specific way of talking about, well, in this case, design feedback, but also communicating out to everyone else who's on the development team what we're trying to do and what we're not trying to do. So something like Vampire Survivors, when they first injected the slot machine mechanic, that's hopefully what the designer was going for, was saying, I'm going to have this uncertainty and this jackpot feeling eventually, because that's very much one of the first things you will see when you approach that level up mechanic is, it's normal. You level up a couple of times, you get normal stuff, and then suddenly it goes into a bing, 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 shepherd's tones, and it's like this big, big jackpot. And you're like, oh, you don't even care what the fucking mechanic that you just unlocked was, but it feels amazing, and that's, what some people would call dark pattern of game design is, you're directly manipulating people's brains. And yes, that is what we do.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah.
It can be used for evil, and you can just go, hey, there's a slot machine, just click the button. And
oh, I mean, if we're going to say used for evil, we'll just call it loot boxes, that whole fiasco. Oh, my God. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so that would be one
of the... In some games it works, some it does not. Yeah. And we know which ones don't. They got the most flack for it.
Yeah, all games are a certain type of loot box.
Yeah.
So you did mention one thing that I want to touch on, which is pillars. Now, can you, when you take a look at a game, compare, contrast, or figure out what their pillars were in a game?
Mm-hmm. Yep. For a lot of games, they're just copying another game, and I would say they're just copying the right pillars, and they're maybe changing one or two things. So with a lot of Survivor maps, they're looking at the original Vampire Survivors, and they're putting it into 3D for Megabonk. They're doing...
Well, there's Vampire Survivors VR now. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, they just announced that. The board game on Kickstarter.
Co-op.
I backed it.
Putting co-op mode in. But yeah, every time you look at a game, if they've done a good job communicating, you should be feeling that pretty easily. You should be seeing that pretty easily. You know what you're going to get. When I buy... Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, I'm like, it's going to be Vampire Survivors with digging. I'm like, good.
So, so when, for example, when they dropped the co-op part for Vampire Survivors, I don't think that was part of, like, maybe their original pillars. I think that was just kind of like something that the community had asked, or maybe they did have it as part of their design process, but for, further out. It's interesting to kind of see, like, well, where did that fit in their pillar structure? To me, I'm kind of like, I think that was more of a community ask kind of thing afterwards. But
so we can talk about it from an emergent point of view, where you start a game development process where you're just creating a game, and that in an indie space can be where you don't have pillars.
Yeah.
In that space, you're kind of doing what you know.
Do what you feel like.
So when I played Vampire Survivors for the first time, my thought was, this is off-the-wall game design jazz.
Yeah, game design jazz. That's
design jazz.
It's got some squonks and squeaks, and it's good.
In a big studio, you can imagine how much money that costs if people are just.
Jesus.
What if we just throw I don't know, death into the game, and death follows you around. You know, it's just very improvisational. Like, and that can be really disruptive, and it removes people's faith in you knowing what you're doing as a game designer.
Yeah.
But he's a small team of 2 people, and he's just improvising what works into a very tight core loop, and then just improving on it. That's how you would generate pillars, right? You would generate the pillar of, why am I doing, these loops? You are doing these loops to explore the game world and the game mechanics and to unlock new characters. So that would be a relatability, pillar where it's saying, I, as a player, am important to these other people in this game world, and that triggers my brain to have certain emotions.
Now, if you're taking like a much a bigger studio, the importance of creating these pillars is a pillar is something that you can absolutely stand behind and say this is the core of our game. We've already worked this out, and this is when it comes to people which are coming up with new pitches, and they're like, hey, I've got this thing. It's like, does it hit all of our pillars? Well, no, and that's where the inherent risk can come in. Is you're just like, you know what, this just won't fit with where we're going with this right now. Like, it's going to become too far out into left field. Community might not respond well to it. But yeah, like there's I guess if we're going to talk about pillars, for squad, we've got that approachable tactical shooter. That's one of the key words on there is like the approachable side of it. But communication, coordination, and so these are things that if we are looking at these features, we have to make these fit. Otherwise, it's too disruptive. Then to the game, to the community, to the business as a whole. If we do not have the discipline to follow what our key pillars are.
Yeah, it's hard enough to make a game. It's really hard to try and make 5 at the same time.
Yeah,
it's also good design practice to have boundaries and limitations and design within those limitations. So that's what pillars can give you.
It makes a much easier discussion. If you have 50 people pitching all these different ideas, you can filter it by what pillars do they hit. And as part of our design process, and we have those as part of like our pitch thing. It's like, well, what are the pillars that this touches? The more pillars that you can hit, does that generally mean like, is this a better idea? Well, yeah, it can, because it's easier then to accept into the game. If it hits just, this is just the one pillar I'm focusing on, then if it's good enough, if this is like, this is going to really support this one well, then we look to, then we start looking at risk assessment. You know, so.
I mean, you have situations like Fortnite where they they fast follow games. They don't really have pillars per se. I mean, apart from something like third person.
Are you getting tired of us saying the word pillars? Does this sound like like those business, those 2 guys that you tune in on TV, or I guess depending on the audience age, they'd be sitting around talking about business and being like, well,
NASDAQ.
I see, and, oh God,
Like,
wearing like a
NASDAQ?
blue suit and sitting in this. I don't know if they were awful to listen to. My dad listened to that crap. I hated it.
Well, you answered one of the questions that what I had was when we introduced the word pillar, you guys already went into what pillars are and what they're used for, which is great.
Did
that.
Just take a sip of water.
Yes.
Oh, and a sneeze and a cough, and see, we get all this stuff out right now.
Yeah, just get it all out.
Yeah.
Now that it's actually my voice. So with that, you've described how you take a game like Vampire Survivors and break it down into its pillars and break it down into the different fun aspects or emotional grabs. When you're building out a new game yourself, how does that differ from what you do when you're evaluating a game?
If you're building out yourself, if you're talking on the indie side of things, kind of what Chaz talked about before, you're playing with mechanics to see how well those stick, and those mechanics that you are developing can turn into a pillar on its own. So I think that's part of the, when you're doing the indie space, it's really important to say, like, yeah, just play around with the mechanics. Find a mechanic that's solid that can turn, depending on what it is, that could absolutely be your pillar. And then you start building from that, and then you'll find that that will define additional pillars that go along with it. But you have to start with one, or you have to start with a mechanic to start. And you say, well, this is innovative because, or I have this idea to introduce this mechanic because I think no one's done this, or they haven't done it in a particular way, and that is going to be the basis for me to start designing a game from. If you're talking about like a larger organization, and they're starting out fresh, well, I mean, I guess you see this, like, when some people leave one studio and they have and they start a new studio. Those people automatically, I wouldn't say automatically, but they've already gone through this process of saying what's going to be our pillars for our company. What is the things that we stand behind.
Yeah. I would say that I've joined a couple of companies that had good, strong company-wide pillars that you apply to the game. Like, one company I worked for was really good at sim games, and the project goal from the founders down was, we're not doing another sim game. We want to do something to stretch ourselves into a new area. We want to, we want to try things with this type of design, and
that sets
that
the
was
tone.
against my better judgment. For a small team, people, not super experienced in the games industry, to try and do a completely different genre of game is a tough sell. But that was the goal at the time. And as the lead game designer or as a product manager, you're working with people and it's their money, and you don't get to choose that. And that's what I consider a good design limitation. They don't say just do whatever as long as it's got this IP. They're saying do this specific thing for this specific reason, to do this strategy, and that's a good limitation.
When you're playing with other people's money, that is that can change everything.
It's a big thing.
Absolutely.
If they want to shoot themselves in the foot.
Yep. I mean, you can advise. Yeah.
But if you throw a screaming hissy fit because you
take the emotional component. So when I said, like, when we're breaking down the game, I look for the emotion that it invokes on me. But man, if you're trying to pitch something, there you can be emotionally charged to help get buy-in for these things. But damn, don't bring that same emotional energy to something if it doesn't go your way or whatever. That's where it stops.
Yeah, that's part of being a professional as well.
Yeah.
You're also dealing with people's money in a different aspect. Like,
people get emotional about money.
Well, I mean, you don't have a team that can do 3D animation.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, your game design is limited.
Yeah.
Right? Don't throw a hissy fit because you can't immediately spring up a team of 100 animators. Like, that's not a good idea. But I've seen that kind of thing happen. Right?
Yeah, that kind of really speaks to knowing your own weaknesses, the value of your own weaknesses, your own strengths, and trying to play out to those. Is, I mean, if I was to get an investor, try to get investors involved for whatever the title is, and I'm not going to try to get them on by saying we're doing something completely new that we've never done before, and they're going to be like, that's all red flags. You're just red flags popping up all in their head. What they want to hear is, we've already done this. We've done extensive research. We've proven that we're good at whatever the angle is that you're coming at, because having that confidence is huge. Like, I mean, confidence to say, listen, we can deliver. They want to feel confident that you can do that as well, because their money wants to feel confident.
Yeah. So, in summary,
does that make sense? Does money ever feel confident? You know what I mean.
It makes sense.
You know what I mean.
So in summary, the pillars of the game can also come from the pillars of the company.
Right.
That is a totally valid way of doing things, and probably the way you should be doing things, unless you are in a 2-person team and you're the game designer and animator and
sound
programmer,
designer, and
you're everything.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the hell you want.
The greatest game that never shipped that you worked on.
That we've worked. Not that we're just privy to.
Not just privy to, that you've worked on.
Because the one I was going to bring up, I didn't directly work on it, although I did say like, "Oh, this would be great, it'd be good."
Now, keep in
That
mind,
was the worst. No one wants to hear that. Guys, this is what was gonna be so good. If you take this, I'm telling you. Okay.
now
Anyway.
be careful with NDAs and stuff like that. I don't want to get anybody into trouble.
So I know because we come from similar backgrounds. There was one that we're like I would
just say just talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The one that rhymes with.
No, it doesn't. You can't say that either.
No.
Just explain the generalities of the game.
I don't know if you're allowed to even go through that. See, NDAs are real. Some places are. Well, NDAs it should be just locked up.
Action fighting game.
Action fighting shooter, third person. Yeah.
You know, nothing.
I think we all were in that
That
boat.
It also had an interesting. The way that they were going to try to market this, it was almost like an underground comic, which at the time I was like, well, that's a cool angle.
That's sick.
That's really neat. That was.
We
new.
weren't jaded enough to know that company would never touch anything like that with a
10-foot pole.
Oh my god!
There's a 30-foot pole. There was, you know.
Can I say what's the most depressing about these things is like some companies they open up and they say give us all these ideas and they lock it away afterwards. Like at the end of was it Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Was it Temple of Doom?
No,
no,
you're thinking
sorry.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Sorry, thank you. My God, I should have known that. But when they're wheeling the stuff away and you just see the warehouse full of all these amazing things and they're just locked away, slotted. That is exactly what this one company did with a lot of these ideas. And they can be pulled out of cold storage or whatever you want to call it.
And that game was.
Yeah, it was shelved and pulled out.
It was pulled out. It was shelved. It was pulled out. I think in my lifespan at that company, I think it was in production and out of production 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I have actually it's like a one-on-one print. It's a massive poster print of that, and I was like, oh, this is so amazing. I gotta get it framed.
Yeah.
I gotta show you guys this.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe. Yeah.
You should definitely get that framed.
I know it's been rolled up for over 20 years. It's crazy.
So for the listeners,
you're the bad guys of this.
But I mean,
you've got your fucking warehouse full of shit.
Actually, I do. That's one of the things that either leaving or other people left, or if a company closed, it's like, copper wiring. I can take it out of the wall. It's.
take all the art.
Take it all. I've got so much concept art and stuff. So we're not really talking about the greatest game that, whatever. But I'd say that there are, from every game that I've worked on, though, there's components that just didn't make it that I thought, oh my God, that would have been so good.
Well, this is a classic problem with that type of creative game that's trying to do this underground thing, and it's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to have all these interesting mechanics, and then they bring a focus group in. Before the game is even... Before the game is even like halfway, it's like awkward teenage years.
They don't understand the concept. They're just coming in with their raw feelings.
Yeah, and this is a complaint I've had a bunch of different places where we don't trust our designers, our artists. We don't trust it. We have to test it with the public. And it depends on who's in the focus group, whether or not your game is going to be good or bad. And you would say, oh, they're doing multiple focus groups. It's like, who's running the focus group? Have they got an agenda?
My favorite game that never released was it was around a co-op action racer. So basically, imagine you've got a driver, which has they're obviously steering the vehicle and they've got some limited capabilities for weapons and stuff. And then you've got the gunner, which operates, 360, whatever kind of turret, but they also have repair mechanics and other things so that, you worked as a team to cross the finish line. Like you had direct consequences of what was going on. You had to have this communication like, oh my God, we got guys coming up behind us or over to the side. And there was a lot of different players was the overall concept. I was like, wow, that's really cool. Very much like the Redline anime. Well, there are, if you haven't seen that, that's a super bombastic style racing kind of thing with a lot of different characters, some solo and some co-op. Yeah, and that was one of the challenges, though. I think part of like the selling it, because trying to get two people into one vehicle, like it works if you have bots and other things. But the biggest question I think that would come up would be, can I just play it solo though? Do I have to have another person? And it really sung when you had that other person working with you, but solo it didn't have the guts behind it to stand on its own. So it's and that's a huge thing. You can't sell a game to two people, just two people, right? You have to have that, you have to have that fallback in some way.
I've been quite lucky in my career. Most of the games that I've worked on have shipped,
Well, lucky
which is
you.
very, very lucky. Don't know if it was a great game, but it would have been a cartoon, an old school cartoon.
I'm actually really proud of you. I didn't mean to sound so cynical about the
Oh no,
lucky you.
you are. And not a lot of people can say that. A lot of people in the industry can sit 4, 5, 6, 7 years without shipping a game.
Yeah, that's
The
rough.
longest I heard was 12 years. He'd never shipped anything.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that hurts. But like it was a Connect 3, Connect 4 game with a old school cartoon IP.
nice.
That was fun to work on.
Our game that we worked on for the for our game jam, our first one, and we won here. We'll never ship that.
Nope.
I'm like, God damn it! Is it ever fun? Sorry, I can't tell you what it is. Maybe we can get permission someday to show it.
Yeah, that's the
God, man, people are
the
like
other
having a
thing-
blast playing that.
Shipping games is so fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to like begin them. It's hard to carry on with them, and then it's super tiring to actually push something out the door because
Well-
you're a big, beautiful, mutated, ugly baby
Yeah.
that you hope people love, and they don't love it like you do.
But that's a thing though. Things have changed. It's no longer just out the door. I think I probably already touched on this. I probably sound like a broken record to people, but damn, like that was part of that age that I don't know if you want to call it a golden era of gaming or any of that kind of thing, but it was releasing a product. You could hold it in your hand. That was awesome. Holding a case of a game in your hand. That was a box.
Having
Man.
a manual
Manuals were the first
tutorial.
tutorials. Yes,
First for TVs.
dude. And then yeah, exactly. I mean, and I'll talk about one. I remember one summer I was going with my family through going up to Quebec, but we cut through Bangor. Like we go through like Maine and Vermont on the way up there, and there's always this mall where we'd stop for this slice of pizza, but I'd always get this game. I'd always get a game from the game store there, and I remember I got Altered Beast for the Sega Master System. I know it came out on Genesis, but I didn't have a Genesis yet, and they had the that. But anyways, I didn't bring my Sega Master System with me on break up to my grandparents. I left it at home. So I now owned a game that I couldn't play. This is to a kid. You saved your money and you bought this. Couldn't play it until you got home after like a month and a half. I read that freaking manual, but it was tattered by the time I got home. And when I went into that game for the first time, I was instant pro. I was a pro at that game. I knew every single move. I knew how to what to expect. I visualized it in my head before I was even playing it, and that was my tutorial. Like I was prepped. Like I was as prepped as it could be, and yeah, that's what manuals did. I mean, even back of the box of games where they'd have like screenshots, you'd visualize it in your head, like, oh, I can imagine myself playing this. This is going to be so great. And
I had that game on my Amiga. I only played the first level and I gave up.
oh,
I didn't read the manual.
well, that's your yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole. You didn't read it.
So 2 things on that. I went on a family trip down through the United States and came back, and first time ever in Costco.
Oh
And
wow,
Costco had games.
wow.
And I look at the money and look at like it's a no-brainer. So I bought Seventh Guest.
Oh, wow.
That was the first CD game I ever bought.
Exciting.
I didn't have a CD-ROM.
Whoops.
Oh,
I bought the cart before the horse.
oh God.
And I had to wait 3-4 months until my birthday to get a CD-ROM player.
Agony.
Oh, it's absolutely agony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've read that manual back and forth, and I still wasn't able to beat it because that game was freaking hard.
Man, so this is
I
that.
want to watch a walkthrough of that game and just see what happens at the end. 'Cause
Well,
that's bugging
So,
me.
well,
For my Christmas present, I got the hint book, which was 10 times as thick as the manual was, and it showed you all the.
yeah.
but that's like getting that's why getting things like Nintendo Power or those other magazines were so
Gamer,
epic. Those
yeah.
were also part of tutorial and tips, and yeah, some of them were like full on, walkthroughs or guides, but that was such an important thing because those games didn't send you through a press A to do this or whatever. They're just like you're playing, and so you try to prep yourself by magazines, friends, and game manuals or what have you. I found out a long time ago when I was playing. So I go to my friend's place or my cousin's, and they had a Commodore 64, and just like the floppy disk holders, and like we're talking about the big ones. What's the dimensions on those?
5.25.
5.25. Thanks. So on those, and they would just be, some of them would be labeled, some of them would very few would be official. They're all like cracked games or what have you, and you put that in, load :comma 8, comma 1, whatever. I believe that's right. Is it? Wait,
Depending on your
load-
OS.
load comma star or load quote star quote comma 8 comma 1. Is that how?
Depending on your OS.
Depending on your OS, that's right. Anyways, sorry, it's been a long time since I did that, but
That's a throwback that nobody.
no one's gonna get. It's fine. I don't care. I'm old. But you go into a game, you would be going into it blind sometime. You had no idea what this game would be, but you had so many of them, and you'd play through and you try and figure out the mechanics of a game, and the ones that really stuck were the ones that I could get right away. You didn't have to think about it too much. I had appreciation for games that I did put time into because I'm like, I gotta figure out how to do this. And to another throwback, I got my first RPG, Phantasy Star, for the Sega Master System. Never played an RPG before, and mind you, I think the same year I also got Double Dragon. So you can pretty much guess which one I was playing to start. It was Double Dragon, because it was also 2-player. That was a big deal, like true 2-player. And I remember popping in Phantasy Star and being like, I do not get this. And it does have a manual, but right away I didn't understand the concept, so it didn't pull me in. But damn, I read that manual. I'm like, oh, what? It's got the sword. It's got this different shield. Like, it's big. Was it Laconian armor and all this other awesome stuff? It really pulled me into more or less the story. I'm like, oh, this is more than just I'm just walking around as this weird character. And so I fell into it a little bit more because of that manual. And then talking to my friends, I'm like, have you played this? Like, oh my God, yeah, you can save your game. I'm like, save a game? What the heck? Saving games are a big deal. That was a tangent. Yeah, sorry about that.
All right, so we're gonna move into our next segment. One of my funnest segments in our podcast. What game are you playing right now? And sell it to me. I'm looking for a new game to play.
I'm playing Arc Raiders right now. I'm sorry everyone's playing it, but you're just gonna hear it. But oh wait, some guy, one of our people on our team, Cisco, was asking. He's like, "Yeah, I haven't played it." And it's like, how do you sell it to him? And without gushing out a ton of emotion, I mean, to me, it's passive stress. That game has passive stress. It doesn't matter if you're playing solo or with a group or wherever. You're just walking through the level. If you're playing solo, the sound is amplified so you can hear all these cracks and bleeps and things from arcs flying by or whatever. It stresses you out, but that passive stress is always there because you're like, I'm all alone. Or when you're with your buddies, it's like, we got to watch out for other people. We don't know if they're going to be friendly or not. And, that's what I'm playing right now. But that's what I love about that game. It's the unknown and that stress level that's just there all the time.
High stakes, loss aversion,
Yeah.
lots and lots and lots of layered mechanics that really bring out, you're going to lose everything. We're going to give you chances to keep some things or to, get back on your feet. But, once you're down and out, you've lost everything.
Well, actually, so when you say you're down and out, this is what I love about this. So they didn't really say, "Oh, you're down, you're completely gone."
Yeah.
You can still like activate like the lifts to get out of there, which is that's a great decision that they made to say, no, you can still get out even if you're knocked down. It's phenomenal.
There's also variance in play. You can go in with what you call a free loadout, which is like really low power. A lot of your utilities are gone, but you're not risking anything. And at the same time, you can change your loadout to something you've been working on for the last couple of weeks perhaps, and go into a mission and engage with even bigger bombastic content, like taking down these boss robots, right? And that delta is really important, especially in a 15-minute, 20-minute loop of a game.
Yeah.
It totally changes the dynamics from something like Battlefield, where you're just actively progressing, playing through.
You're just going in this grind constantly. Yeah.
And this is the reason why Battle Royale and extraction shooters have become more popular, is because the emotions you're feeling are not as blah. They're not as single note as.
Well, like I said, that passive stress that ties to an emotion. Now, when you were saying about the free loadout, it's like, oh, you can go in there. Yeah, there's no stress. Oh, actually, there's stress. There's no stress when you're just walking. Well, much lower when you're walking around with a free loadout. But if you find something that you like a blueprint or something like that, and you have a free loadout, you don't have that safety pocket. Now your stress has gone from very low to very high. You're like, I gotta get out, I gotta get out with this, because if I don't, I've lost it. And that is a nice balance. That's where they really balance that. And then next time you're like, well, I have to make this stuff in order to have that safety pocket. And in reality, it's not that bad just to go ahead and just create the thing, because they give you the resources to create basic things fairly easily.
Yep.
Now, I'll tell you, if you're playing with like a new player and you've got, hey, I've got all this gear, just go in with a free loadout with your buddy that's also going in with that as well, and you don't really worry about that as much. One of our friends and level designer here, Kent, we're playing with him, or I was playing with him. And I was going in with this loaded up gear, and I ended up losing it because Kent's just like, oh, I'm just going to play around with the mechanics. And starts shooting like arcs left and right. And, oh, look at these people. Should we shoot them? I'm like, bang. Oh, okay. Now we're in it. And now I'm dead. Now I've lost this stuff. I felt a little pang, that loss. I felt that. And I'm like, I can mitigate this by going in as a free loadout with him and just enjoying his experience rather than me worrying about losing things.
Yeah, so you go in, a pillar of that would be risk reward to me. There can be low risk, low reward, high risk, high reward, and that's under the agency of the player for the most part.
Yeah, someday we might have Kent on the show.
They're not super worried about.
Oh, we're not supposed to mention him.
Oh yes, we are.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, but yeah, that's my recommendation is playing something that does accessibility really well. If you're trying to get back into first-person shooters, it's a really good entry point because the core loop is 15 minutes. Yep, and really good. Solid gameplay.
Cool. The next topic that I wanted to start off with, and this is the first time that we're talking about it, and I want to preface this first, is that if you haven't read Dungeon Crawler Carl, the series, you have to start listening to the audiobook for it.
Yeah, don't read it.
Don't read it. Listen to the audiobook. The narrator is fantastic, and it's something that we've been trying to pass around the studio.
Yeah,
to everybody.
I'll tell you something. I was playing Arc Raiders, just whatever, and I met another person in Arc Raiders, and I'm like, hey, you cool? Oh yeah, we're cool. I'm like, we started just talking, and I started talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm like, man, I don't do this normally, and by the way, we're not affiliated with anything with this
Absolutely
at all.
not.
I'm just like in the proxy chat. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's phenomenal. It's like if you took Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Running Man and some D&D campaign and I don't know, whatever. And he was like, oh, really? No, I heard someone talk about that recently. I'm like, do yourself a favor, just listen to this. It is so good. And I that was so, he must have been like, who is this guy? Is he part of the? I'm like,
He's
no,
part of the cult.
I'm now
yeah.
part of that cult. Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very
yeah.
funny evangelism like virus that kind
Yeah.
of spreads through the community of this book.
I'm on book 2 already.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we continue on, I just want to preface that if you are interested in listening to the book, we definitely recommend it. And we'll have a chapter in our. You'll be able to skip this chapter if you don't want to get any spoilers.
And what I want to say about it is maybe this aspect I didn't say it on the initial bit is that if you're into game design, this is I would say almost like you have to.
Yeah.
You have to listen to this. It's so many different game design elements, fit in, even to a lot of the pillars and stuff that we were talking about. Marketing, socials, like it just-
Achievements.
achievement, new achievement. How was that?
That was pretty close.
That was pretty close.
Yeah.
I'll work on that one.
Yeah.
So, but yes. it
So
is.
what I want to get into is where are you right now in the book?
So book 2.
What's the last thing you remember?
Carl derailed the train, and they're just fighting, the not the Manitor. It's like the man with the body of a man with the upper body of another man. It's got, and also it's got some really good throwbacks too. I gotta say, like the nostalgia factor in there is pretty nice. But anyways, no, I'm at that part right now, and they're just about ready to fight this boss, this boss of the train. He's not the conductor, but he's running it. And I stopped that because I listened to this on the way into work. I listened to it, as I'm laying down with my cat sitting on my chest, and I just listened to this book. It's so good. I'm not watching anything right now because I'm listening to this. Like it's taken over.
Yeah, it is.
But
Yeah. So is book 2 the train book?
No, wait. No, I'm on book 3.
You're on book 3.
Okay.
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm on.
yeah.
It went that fast. Sorry,
Wow.
I'm on book 3.
Like I was going, I don't remember thinking.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm on book 3. That's right. Because
The Tangle is book 3. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Tangle. That was it. The title, I think it's the Anarchist Cookbook or something like that was the title or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But sorry,
yeah.
book
Yeah.
3. I think I'm on chapter 12
Okay.
right now. So, screw Globe. Screw the corporation.
Oh yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I'm thinking of the name because it's similar to another company name. I'm getting them confused, and I don't want to say it because they'll be like, "Screw these guys." I'm like, "No, I didn't mean that." But like the running the production behind the scenes
Yeah.
is so insane. It's so relatable, though.
Yeah.
That is the scary part, and that it's relatable to games, TV shows, other things like that as well. But in particular, games. Oh, the other. I guess if you crossed in, what was the other one? Hunger Games. If you cross Hunger Games into
Hunger
that
Games
as well.
with
Yeah.
the mass broadcasting of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've said this before. If you're a designer, do this. If you're a designer on my team, best believe you better be listening to this. It is that good. So
It's great.
don't worry. We don't force
feed anybody.
feed anything, but
All right.
I'm not judging you, but I'm judging you.
We're getting close to our time here, guys. I'm going to leave us with a one shot of parkour or spreadsheet. And I've got a game, and it's a game that you're going to find very interesting.
Okay.
It's an older game. It's a game a lot of our listeners would probably have to look up, but it's better off for them to look it up.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Ultima.
No.
Okay.
Zaxxon.
Yeah, I love Zaxxon. Oh wait. Oh.
How do you describe Zaxxon first?
So
For the
came out in
listeners.
1982. First isometric 3D shooter. Space game. You're a ship.
Side scroller.
Side scroller in the isometric
Right.
POV. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's I want to say parkour, but at the same time, you've got fuel management, which if you don't keep your fuel up, you're screwed. You're dead. But I guess it's more parkour than that. I guess it's parkour.
It's a shmup, right? It's a
shmup.
reaction based.
It is, but it's different. Like I said, the fuel mechanic of it was, in order to keep your ship alive, you have to destroy these fuel tanks. Now, the other part of it, because it being an isometric shooter, they had to include this height gauge,
Yeah.
right? But you can tell
there's barriers in
there's
those
barriers.
height gauges.
There's also shadows, which will
Yes.
tell you how close you are getting to the ground.
Yeah.
But when you go through the space part after one island, like you fly through this island gauntlet essentially, and then you're into space. They also put a HUD up there that when other ships would be directly in line with you, it'd pop up an X, like a targeting X, and you get an audio that goes beep. So there was a lot of that management. Your height management was the biggest part of the game, really, because if you didn't know what height you were at, you had no idea how to get through those barriers and the holes, or how to shoot something that's coming at your ship level.
Yeah,
So
it took the 1944 top down plane kind of shooters that go up and down and stuff like that.
yeah,
Into almost a 3D space.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess on the management side, on the height, and you're analyzing, you're targeting things in space and your fuel. That is and you're also a high score gets you new lives, so you have to go for high level points, to shoot different things which are worth more.
So that's your spreadsheet.
That's your spreadsheet right there. I guess it divulged into that, because when you really start breaking it down, I guess for me it's spreadsheet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good example of starting with something very parkour and adding spreadsheet elements to it, probably in a very experimental way.
I would absolutely say that was in an experimental way. I can just imagine the first things, and people say, "Oh, well, how do I tell where to go with this new angle, this isometric angle?" Because and they thought, well, okay, well, you can constantly shoot and you can see where your shots are going and impacting, and that's one method. So it's your rate of fire, trying to fire to see if your shots are impacting the wall or not. But I'm sure they just said, oh, we have to have the shadow, we have to have the height meter. So and depending on what platform you played it on back in the day, whether it be arcade, Commodore 64,
PC.
like so many different ports of it. You got various degrees, but one of the things that was constant was that height meter. That was always there. So it was it's an interesting game, really is.
Cool.
Yeah.